What's up guys, welcome. My name is Charlie, and in this video I want to show you guys how to create a really good quality automotive listing in the Facebook Marketplace. But first, if you're new to the channel, definitely consider subscribing, and if you find this helpful, like it down below. So let's get started, and I want to talk to you first about why I use the Facebook Marketplace over something like eBay or Craigslist or AutoTrader or something like that. It's free, and most people have a Facebook already. I think that it's something that anybody can use and set up really quick. It's not very hard, and it can reach a lot of people. Another reason why I like the Facebook Marketplace over those other ones is that it really helps you tailor your local market. If you want to sell your car yourself, a lot of times you're going to be meeting the person that's potentially buying it. And Facebook does a really good job of helping find people in your local area. Of course, it's the local marketplace kind of mentality, so you can see where people are at, and then hopefully it finds people that are closer to you. So with that, we're gonna go ahead and get started straight into this. I'm gonna first show you guys where on Facebook to go to the marketplace to create a listing. And I'm gonna screen record this so that you guys can see this as we step through it too. So let's just jump right into it. So I think this is working now, so we're gonna go ahead and start. So the place to find where you create a listing is from your home screen, you go to the Marketplace tab. It's gonna bring up everything. And on this left-hand side of the page, we're gonna see this marker called Create a Listing. When you click on that, you're gonna have two things. You're gonna have an option to create a single listing or a multiple listing. In this case, we're gonna create a single listing, which brings us to a new page where we find four options. There's items for sale, create multiple listings, vehicle for sale, home for sale, or rent. Obviously, we're gonna go with the vehicle for sale, so that's what we're gonna click on. And then this basically brings up a big table that we're gonna populate all of our stuff with, and it just creates the ad for us. So we start on this left-hand side. You can scroll through here and see a few of the things that it gives us. There's not a whole lot of information you need to know about your car to create a listing, but we're gonna go through what you do need to know, what's important to list, and some of the things that you should include in your listing. That's an optional thing that I think you really should include. The first thing over here on the left is your vehicle type. It's gonna be a car, truck, motorcycle. Facebook gives you a lot of options, but for this example, in this video, we're talking about cars or trucks. And so we're gonna pick that. When you pick that, it's gonna show you a lot more options have been added to this. We have things like year, make, model, the location where we're at, mileage, price, body style, exterior color, etc., clean title, vehicle condition, and we're gonna go through each one of these in just a second. But the first thing at the very top that it's gonna ask you for are photos. And I want to take a second to talk about photos because these are really important. Facebook allows you to add up to 20 photos. I suggest that you include 20 photos. The more that you have, the more a buyer is gonna be able to look through the car and see what they need to see, and it's gonna be able to show just more information, right? So you have that availability, use 20. I kind of follow by the mantra of two things. We want to have clarity and we want to have coverage. So our photos are not like our Instagram feed where we put our most stylized, color corrected, crazy filter photos on here. That's not what goes into a listing, so don't do that. Except for in one case, and I'll talk about that in a second. So what you want to do is you want to add the clearest, most unmodified photos that you can. That's the clarity part of that. And then the second is coverage. You have 20 photos that you can add to your listing, and I suggest that you have none of them show the same thing twice. What that does is that allows you to get 20 photos that show as much of the car as possible. With that, I tend to go in a habit of walking around. A few of the pictures that you want to make sure that you have are things like the dashboard that have the odometer reading on it. That's a really helpful one to have. The VIN plate's a good one to have on there. All of the corners, all of the sides, the trunk, the doors. If your car has back seats, show the back seats, show the engine bay, all of those things like that you want to add in there. And 20 photos is more than enough to have that. And back to the stylized photo. So one of the photos that you upload is going to be your cover photo. So on the ad listing, it's going to be the displayed photo. That's the only picture that I would say that you could have some freedom to put a stylized picture. If you're a photographer and you take pictures and you have a really cool picture of the car that really stands out and pops, that's one place where you could put a photo like that, because you want people to click on your ad. If they don't click on it, they're not gonna message you and they're not gonna buy it. So that's the one place that I would say that you, at your discretion, can put a stylized photo. After the photos, we're gonna go down to your location. That's just wherever you're at. It defaults wherever your Facebook Marketplace account is. And then we have our year, make, model, and mileage. Now these are the most bare minimum essential things you have to have in order to sell a car. You've got to have the year, you've got to have the make, who makes the car, what type of car it is, and then the mileage. And those things are important. If you don't know what those things are, I maybe would suggest don't try to sell the car yourself. These are really basic things. If you don't know what kind of car you drive, you probably shouldn't be trying to sell it. So I'm gonna assume that you know how to do that, and so we're gonna skim right past that. After you do that, actually, you know what, we'll make up an example here. We'll do a 2017, I don't know, let's see, an Audi, let's see an R8. Let's see if they have an R8 in here. Oh, R8, here we go, trim, V8 plus, that's what we want, and we're gonna put 3,000 miles. So after you fill those things out, what this is gonna do is it's obviously gonna display what kind of car it is in the listing, but this also uses Kelley Blue Book's price analysis tool in what kind of car you have in the mileage and the price you're asking to give buyers kind of a range. And you can see this here on this graph that when I fill this price in, it's gonna be, it's gonna show whether it's low or high or whatever. I think they're a little wonky, but we're just gonna see what this does. I don't know, I'm gonna put let's say $130,000. See what that looks like. And I don't know, it doesn't actually pull this up right now. Okay, so maybe it doesn't fill this out. Anyways, we're gonna move past that. And then beneath that, we have this vehicle features, which it pre-populates a lot of these default vehicle option feature things that you can select and deselect. I don't use these very often because I use the description to explain a lot of the things that I have. A lot of the cars that I deal with are like, sports cars, specialty cars, like something like this. And a lot of times they have options that are not really descriptive in this little default drop-down menu. So you can go through and fill them out and check the things that are on there. But a lot of times if you have specialty options on your car, this won't necessarily have it. So we're gonna go past that. So fill that in if you want to, if you want to take the time. But if not, it's not a huge deal. Body style, same thing. We said this is a coupe, so we're gonna say it's a coupe. Exterior, I'm a fan of white and red, so we're gonna pick a white one with red interior. You fill in the interior colors, exterior, the body style, and then it's gonna have a few things on the condition of the vehicle next. This vehicle has a clean title. If your vehicle has a clean title, check this box. If you're not sure, I would check, but one of the things that we want to talk about when creating a listing is we don't want to lie to people. The main thing about your ad is transparency. Like the pictures with clarity, the thing that you want to do in an ad is convey the most amount of information in the shortest amount of time. But you also want that information to be truthful. So you don't want to lie, you don't want to say your vehicle has a clean title if it doesn't. And if you're not sure, tell them, I'm not sure. I don't have a vehicle history report. I don't know for certain. I think it is, but don't say that it definitely is. Vehicle condition, this is where you just say it's very good. A lot of times I would say err on the more realistic side. If your car has a bunch of dings and dents and stuff, it's not excellent. Don't put excellent. You can put good or fair, I don't know. We're gonna put excellent because obviously we keep our cars excellent. Fuel type is a gasoline. Automatic, unfortunately all these are, you know what, a V10? No, I don't think they made a manual. I don't think they made a manual in the V10 Plus in 2017, so we're gonna have to leave it as automatic. If your car has 2 pedals, it's not a manual. Don't check that box. I've looked at too many cars on the Facebook Marketplace where the manual transmission box was checked and it absolutely was not a manual. If your car doesn't have 3 pedals, it's not a manual, it's an automatic, okay? I don't care if it has paddles, it's an automatic. In this case, it's an automatic. So we're gonna keep going. The next is the most intimidating box for a lot of people, which is the description. What do you put in the description? I say everything that's important. Again, we want transparency, we want clarity, but we want concise clarity. When I listed my C5 Corvette, which we'll look at that ad in a minute, it actually has a ton of modifications to it, and I listed all of those. Now, one thing you don't want to do in your description is do what a lot of car dealers do and put a lot of these, if you scroll back up here to this, these vehicle features, a lot of these are really stupid options that I don't care about. Tilt and telescoping wheel. Okay, a lot of cars have a tilting and telescoping wheel. So don't put that in the description, all right? I don't care. Now the important bits, like whether the car has, it's a V10 Plus, whether it has carbon ceramic brakes, whether it has, I don't know what options actually come on R8s a lot, but maybe like some specialist limited paint scheme or something, that's something that you want to put in the description. In the case of my C5 Corvette, it has a lot of modifications. I listed each one of those modifications and when they were done, if they're wearable items, that's one thing that you want to put on there. If the tires are almost done, then you want to put that, hey, tires have 25% tread life left. The oil was changed a week ago, it's brand new. the seats were just replaced, or upholstery was replaced, or the clutch was changed. Things like that are things that people want to know about the car. Those are what you put in the description. You can be as concise as you want. I suggest that because a lot of times people are going to click on the ad and they're going to skim through really quickly, and if it's not something that really grabs their attention or isn't what they want to know that really quickly so they can move on. And then yeah, so that's actually all that it takes, and you can look at the listing over here. If you were to populate this with pictures, this is a good picture. This is the wrong picture, but this is a picture. So this is what it would look like. Hey, this is super. So if you put a picture, the first one in the list is going to be your cover photo. Whatever one is first in this list is going to be the first one that gets displayed. And then after this is done, you can see that it has now highlighted this next. Now you don't have to fill in a description. I would suggest that you do, but if you don't really want to, I think that's one of the things that's going to separate your listing from somebody else's. It makes it a little bit elevated. It's going to be a lot better. Do that. We're going to click next, and then it's going to say you can list to more groups. This is another kind of tip that I think that you should do. Join a few local Facebook groups or just Facebook groups on the car. So I've sold one of my Corvettes and I'm in the process of selling my other one, and one of the things that I did was I listed on a few of these Corvette buy, sell, trade Facebook groups. So this allows you to post that listing in a group specific to what you're selling. So if you're selling an Audi R8 V10 Plus with a Toyota Supra steering wheel, then you could find, hey, Supra modified Audi R8 Facebook groups, and you could be the only member. But if you find that, add that listing to there so that this gets posted in that group so that you reach more potential buyers. In this case, we're not going to actually create this listing, but down at the bottom, that's it. Now you would publish this. If this was an actual real listing, you would publish it, and then it would be live. So now we're going to check out the listing that I made that I think did really well. It's done really well for me. I've got a lot of attention from it. I got a lot of potential buyers that have reached out to me and messaged me through it. And I'll show you kind of some of the things that have come along with that. This is my listing for the C5 Corvette. And as you can see, the cover photo for it is a stylized picture. But you can tell that it's something that grabs your attention. It's something that just shows this person put a little bit more effort. Don't go out there with a cell phone at night when it's raining and take a picture of it and it's really blurry. So with this first picture, I used the stylized kind of edited photo so that it kind of grabbed more people's attention as they were scrolling through. And I think that it's worked pretty well because as you can see from, let's see, where is it at? So Facebook tells you right here, these are the places that I had it listed: Corvette, buy, sell, trade, Huntsville, buy, sell, trade, Corvette, all this stuff like that, that I got 2,331 clicks on this listing in the last, I think it's the last 7 days is what this is, the last 14 days. So over 2,000 people have clicked on this listing. Now that's not because I'm a genius or anything, but it's because I followed a few things. The car is a desirable car, but it's also because I made the ad to where somebody would want to click on it. So this is the listing, how it looks to a buyer, and you can tell, I don't think I have 20 photos, so I'm kind of messing myself up here, but you can click through them and you can see that I'm showing all the different parts of the car. They're really clear, daylight, you can see everything on the car. There's a few close-ups. I show the trunk, you show the interiors, some of the door panels, the seats, dashboard, all those things like that. So actually, I forgot on this listing I don't have the odometer on the dashboard, so And one of the things talking about clarity, this last picture is actually the car before it was vinyl wrapped. So that's something that so the car looks like this right now, but it did look like this as the factory paint. So I included this picture so that I could show a buyer that, hey, the paint underneath the vinyl wrap looks really good. I'm not necessarily hiding something. This is why I was saying that this kind of price meter thing isn't necessarily all that accurate. This says that I've got my car listed at $17,500, which for the modifications in the car and the condition is pretty good. Most C5 Corvettes are not that expensive, so this is kind of off. It says $10,000 to $12,000. That's not realistic. If you find a car like mine for $12,000, I will buy every single one that you find. So that's one of those things where I kind of ignore it most of the time, but in some cases it can be helpful. You can come down here to my description. This is where I was talking about. My description is lengthy because there's a lot of stuff done to the car. I give a brief description of the car, some important things like the AC works. That's something that doesn't happen on a lot of modified cars. That it's vinyl wrapped. Why I'm selling it is something I like to include so people aren't wondering why this person is selling the car like this. And then I go through and I list everything that's done to the car, engine-wise, suspension-wise, interior. If there's anything you need, message me, ask questions about it. I leave that open for somebody to ask questions about this. And then I give the VIN number, and then at the very bottom, nobody ever reads this. It makes me so annoyed. I hate this. I wish Facebook could just filter out by the word trade. I put no, not interested in trades because I'm not interested in trades. And inevitably, like once a day, I get somebody messaging me like, hey, you want a boat? No, I don't want a boat. And then at the very bottom, it shows me, and hey, look, I got 42 5 stars. That's pretty good. Mark as sold, mark as pending. So when you sell the car, you can mark it as sold, etc., etc. So you can see that this ad did pretty well because I have a number of the things that I've talked about, good quality pictures and things like that. So I hope that video was helpful to you guys. It was just a quick overview of how to create a listing on the marketplace. It's something I use a lot, and I think it's something that you probably would get a lot of use out of as well. So like I said, if you liked the video, definitely consider subscribing to the channel, you know, click the like button, all that kind of stuff. Check out my channel for more stuff on the C5. I may be selling it tomorrow, so that's why I wanted to make this video now. So if you want to see more content with that, I've done some cool stuff with it, some cool modifications, some vinyl wrap, stuff like that, so check that out. But until then, I'll just catch you guys next time. See you.